Hi guys, it's Ashley from Ashley's Paper Heart, and today we're doing another Mail Art Monday video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a Penpal folder with the goal of making it flatter than a normal flip book. I don't know about you, but my envelopes can get super thick, and this is my attempt to control it. So I won't be offering any measurements because I'm basing all of my measurements off of the envelope that I plan on using. I think that a bigger envelope gives more surface space for you to spread your ephemera pieces out. So I'm taking this 12 by 12 piece of scrapbook paper from Stamperia, and I think I got this one on Amazon. And I measured the envelope and then took my ruler and came in about 1/4 of an inch. So after I cut my paper down to size, I do test it against the envelope, and it looks like I need just a little more clearance on one of the sides. So I take my ruler and eyeball it, cut off the excess, and it looks like I have enough room now. Next, I am grabbing some vellum to create a bottom pocket. I am just like free tearing it. I like to have the deckled edge on it. I think it adds a nice interest. And then I'm taking that piece that I cut off from the top, and I'm going to be turning that into a pocket as well. So the main thing to remember when trying to make your mail flatter is that you need to evenly distribute the pieces of ephemera that you are including, at least as much as possible. So that's why on this one I am going to do a staggered pocket. So I've done this design a few different ways. The first time that I had created one, I did 2 pockets staggered and then a tuck spot at the very top, and that helped keep everything pretty flat. I did not put any sort of like cover on it, so it was literally just the piece of paper as the backing. So now I'm cutting down this pocket. I am putting this pocket higher than I probably would have, but I want to keep the fox visible because I think he's a good focal point. So I am now attaching this with a tape runner. This one is a Tombow. I don't really have a preference. I've used the cheap ones, I've used the more expensive ones. They all seem to do the same job. So I will be putting this through my sewing machine and doing some sewing down the edges. So I'm not super concerned about what adhesive I'm using it. I just literally need it to hold it long enough so that I can put it through my sewing machine. So now I'm taking this extra scrap paper. This was a piece of paper that was taken from the same scrapbook set, just from a different project, and I wanted to go ahead and use it up. So now I'm folding the edge of it down about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to use that hinge to attach it to the main backing. So as you can see, I pulled out some vintage wallpaper from my stash, and I'm going to add a tuck spot on the outer edge of the flap. So now I'm just kind of rough measuring the actual size of the flap that I'm going to be adding this to. I want the tuck spot to be smaller than the full length of the flap, so I'm just cutting partially down the line that I had traced. So for any of the pockets or the tuck spots that are in this project, you can use anything from your stash that you desire. Probably things that are not super flimsy, but any sort of cardstock or scraps of paper, wallpaper will work. So now I'm cutting that scrap of wallpaper down the center at a diagonal because I'm going to make it as a right triangle to create that tuck spot. You want to put the paper that you're using for the little pocket to the outer edge away from the hinge that you have made to attach it to the back. So because I'm not going to be sewing this, I used a heavier duty glue. For this one I used Fabrifix. I believe it's a silicone based glue. It is heavy duty. It will hold any sort of paper together. It also gets kind of everywhere. That's why I put a piece of paper underneath my workspace to kind of keep it from getting glue all over it. So now I am trying to decide on the placement that I want on my folder. So I'm positioning that tuck spot kind of in between the two pockets because the main goal of this is to keep it as flat as possible. And by staggering your different places that you're going to be putting your ephemera, it helps balance out the weight of everything. So I did use Fabrifix to attach this to the main part of the folder. I probably shouldn't have done that because I am going to be sewing over that spot, but I'm sewing along those edges. So now that everything is all sewn, I'm showing you that I did do a straight stitch along the edge of 3 of the edges. On this project, the sewing aspect of it is optional. I do it because I like the way that it looks aesthetically, but using glue is perfectly fine. It will do the same job. And honestly, you don't need this to be like crazy secure, because, chances are that this will kind of be put aside after it's all empty anyway. Now that the base construction of the folder is done, it's time for my favorite part, which is decorating it. So because the backing papers that I've chosen are kind of busy, I went ahead and picked scraps that were more neutral based with not a lot of patterns besides the text. It helps kind of balance out the design so that the viewer is not completely overwhelmed, because there is a lot to look at on this, and then it's going to get even more busy once you add your ephemera to it. As far as the decorating, it's really up to you what you do with it. You could do a number of things. You could add lace or other scraps of fabric. You could do like I'm doing here and adding just different pieces of paper scrap. It's really, your choice on what you do with it. For me, I specifically want to keep this folder as thin as possible, so I'm using thinner paper scraps, but if that's not your concern, then, you could go crazy and even add like buttons and more like 3D elements. So now I am using the glue stick to kind of finish out the different paper clusters that I'm creating. For the glue stick that I'm using here is the Scotch Crete glue stick. I like it. It holds things down pretty well. Any glue stick will do though, because this is all going inside the envelope and it will be protected by the envelope. You don't have to worry about using like super heavy duty glue. Save that for stuff that you're attaching to your envelope, because as you know, that kind of goes through the ringer when you send it. Now I kind of want to backtrack a little bit and talk about the base paper that I used for the folder. So it's from Stamperia, and it's a thinner cardstock. And because my main goal on this was to keep this light and flat to kind of save room for the ephemera that I want to include, I used all thinner papers. The vellum is super light. The cardstock is pretty light for cardstock. And so is the vintage wallpaper and all of the papers that I'm using for decorations. Again, it's all personal preference, so you use what you have on hand. Don't go out and buy anything, specific for this. This is kind of a use what you have project, in my opinion. So, how many of you guys do Penpal folders? I'd love to hear about the different ones that you create and what some of your favorite kinds of ephemera to receive are. So I'm kind of wrapping up on the actual decoration of this. I think all in all, to create this folder, it probably took maybe 25 minutes, but that included me digging through things and not being well organized when I was actually doing the creating. So if you're a little more organized than I was, it, would probably take you about maybe 20 minutes. Super simple. So I am adding a little bit of decoration to the outside of this flap that I added. I found a little cutout that I had gotten out of a natural history book, and I used that little fox to kind of like mirror the fox that is on the inside of the folder. So, if you made it this far in the video, then you are about to be greatly rewarded. Well, maybe. I am going to do a giveaway for this Penpal folder full of goodies from my stash. So, the rules of the giveaway will be you have to be 18 years or older, and I will have this open internationally, so anywhere in the world I can send this to you. So to get an entry into the giveaway, please be a subscriber of my channel. Please don't subscribe just for the giveaway and then unsubscribe. That's not cool. You also please like the video and leave a comment. And that's it. And you can leave any comment. It doesn't really matter. So simple, right? I will leave the giveaway open until March 26th, and that's Friday. So if you do those things that I asked, then you will be entered to win this Penpal folder that you are currently seeing me fill. So I added a lot of different pieces from this. Some stuff that I've gotten from subscription boxes, some things from my favorite stationery stores, some vintage book pages and cutouts. Just plenty of things to get you started for crafting and get you ready to make your own Penpal folder. When I fill up Penpal folders to send to my pen pals, I tend to give quite a variety of things. I know some people are super talented and they're good at creating like a curated kit with like a color theme or, like that. And I am not. I am just kind of like, oh, this looks cool. This looks cool. I'm going to put this in there. There's really no rhyme or reason. It's just kind of what was nearby and thought kind of fit. I think I kind of tried to do a little bit of a woodlands theme with some of the pages and things that I had stuck in here, but it's very loose. It's loosely based on that theme. I know for me, when I receive folders from my pen pals, I love getting like little scraps of paper that I probably wouldn't have found otherwise. It's especially great when I have international pen pals and they have access to things that are not easily accessed in the US. So I am super thankful for them for sharing the stationery that they can get easily with me, because it's wonderful to share. As I'm filling up this folder, I am staggering all of the pieces that I'm sticking in there as much as possible. I've spread things out so that it will lay as flat as I can get it. I think that is the important part about this whole project, is just spreading out the weight of the different papers. So here I'm adding some vintage stamps. I'm actually down to the very end of my bag of vintage stamps, so I'm going to have to go out and find some more. I was super lucky to find some at an antique store for really cheap. It's kind of pricey when you're buying them from sellers online, and I get it, they're running a business. So I'm always happy when I can find some locally to me and get a better price. And now that we're getting to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to enter the giveaway. The rules will be in the description box as a reminder, so I hope that you will enter, and I hope to see you back for my next video. So have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.